Hi, everybody. I know what you're thinking. I thought Father Angelo was on vacation, but in my sincere dedication to the parish, I wanted to make sure that I did not leave you without a sermon. What kind of priest would I be if you didn't get a sermon during liturgy? So, in today's gospel, we've got two interesting things that I want to discuss, all right? One of them is the interesting point that Jesus says, "Let your light shine before men so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." And then secondly, he says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law." So these are two interesting points. The first one seems to go against our Orthodox faith, because we are told to do things in secret. Even St. Paul tells us, do not let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. So on one hand, we're told, no, do these things in secret. And here now we have Jesus' own words telling us, let your light shine before men. So how do we reconcile those two thoughts? Well, there is really no dichotomy between those two thoughts. What we have to be careful of is that when we do something, are we doing it for God's glory, as he says in the gospel reading here? He says now, and so that your Father may see. Or are we doing it for our glory? So that brings us to this point of, can we actually do something altruistically? What do I mean by that? Meaning that we don't expect any reward, like hey, thanks, that was a great job, or you're doing great, thanks for that. So a lot of times we expect now to be thanked. This city on a hill, this light that shines before men, is that light of humility. I have done something because it glorifies God. Because I have the love of Christ in me is what I want to do. Not because it's going to bring me some reward or some benefit. So he starts us off by saying, do these things in secret. Do not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, so that we can start in humility. And once we are humble, now what we can do is then, in silence, through action, through praxis, we can now be that light on a hill. And secondly, many times we hear in other Christian expressions that the Old Testament no longer holds any place for us as Christians, that the New Testament is the end. And here we have Jesus' own words that say, I have not come to abolish it, but to fulfill it. And what does he mean by that? He means that he has become the new covenant. We say it. And we say it during the liturgy, we say it just before you receive communion. So he becomes the new covenant. He is the new Torah. That's why many times in Greek churches and Greek Orthodox churches, you'll see in the dome, Jesus standing like this with the gospel and making a blessing. Because what he's saying is, I am the Torah now. I am the living Torah. I am the new covenant. And through my act, meaning his birth, his teachings, his crucifixion, his death and burial, and of course his resurrection, he is now our salvation. Before Jesus Christ, the Torah was the salvation. It was the temporary fulfillment or the covenant with the people of Israel. And now Jesus has come and fulfilled that. And he truly now is the Torah. And so this is how we understand these two very difficult things, because on one hand, in the first part, we're told, why don't do things in public, do them in private, and how do we understand that? And secondly, the Old Testament certainly has value for us because it is the precursor for us. It tells us who is coming. It talks about now the Messiah, and that Messiah is Jesus Christ.